Regional Governance Board of the Southwest Vermont Regional Technical School District for our regular meeting Monday, May 16, 2016. We do have a quorum present, so we will proceed with the agenda. Welcome, everybody, and thanks for coming out this evening. The first item on our agenda, as always, is public comments. Do we have any public comments? All right, seeing none, I'm just going to mention that our Superintendent Director Mike Lawler is very ill and cannot make it today, this evening to the meeting. Meg is filling in as the assistant, and she's been briefed and has got plenty of information for us. The first item under the consent agenda then are the minutes from the RGB full board meeting April 18, 2016. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Then to be approved. Discussion. Sorry, Barb, but I found something in error on those I got to pick up on. Well, I'm got to bring him up here in a second.
Shocking.
I think it's line number 39, line 39. Chairman Boutin reported he had met with the Education Commissioner and all avenues to expand into the North Shore will be pursued. It should read that I intend or would like to meet with the Educational Commissioner. I have not met concerning that topic yet, okay? That's the only correction that I saw. Page 1, line 39, right. I don't know, that's the way I got it into the Dropbox. Yeah. Okay. Can I then, okay. Good. Can I then have the motion to read with corrections?
So
We
moved.
amend that then to accept those minutes with corrections.
I'll amend the second.
Okay. All those in favor then of the minutes being approved as amended, please signify by raising your hand, and that is unanimous. All right. Let me get back to the agenda here. The payroll warrants are number 22, number 107, 23, and 1039. Can I have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Ricky and seconded by Francis.
I think it's 1037 now.
It's 1037,
Yeah.
1023, and 22, and 39.
I thought you said something different, but maybe not.
I'm reading payroll warrant 22, 1037, 23, and 1039.
1039, okay.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
That's vendor warrant. No, that is payroll. That's 22 and 1037. That's correct. That's what I'm. Any questions or any concerns on the payroll warrants? All right, then can I have a vote? All those in favor of accepting the payroll warrants as submitted, please signify by raising your hand. That's unanimous, Barb. The vendor warrants. That's 1038 and 1040.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ricky, seconded by Francis. Any questions or concerns on what's presented there with the vendors? Seeing none, then I will ask for a vote on that. All in favor, please signify by raising your hand on the vendor warrants. And that's unanimous as well, Barb. The cash flow revenue statements are in the Dropbox. And if there's no questions or concerns on those, we'll move forward with that. There was no meeting of the Strategic Planning and Education Committee. We had decided at this point in time it wasn't necessary. So there's no reports that I know of any committees. Leanne, do you have anything as far as?
Besides, we're planning one, Bruce, the next Monday at 3 or 3:30, I think I got it down with Bruce. We're
Okay.
trying to pull a policy committee together.
All right. And we'll have a report out on that then for the next meeting.
Yeah.
May I make a comment?
Sure.
Jennifer Gully
Yes.
wanted to volunteer for one of those committees as an outside participant.
As an outside participant, do you know which committee she was interested in?
I do not, but maybe you could write to her and ask her.
I'll contact her, yep. Yep. Jessica, you mean?
Jessica.
Our former board
Mhm.
member. Yes, Jessica, I'll do that. Action items. We have to vote on the last day of school this year as of Friday, June 10th, 2016. It appears that the SVSU has found out that they didn't use any snow days and they can shorten the school year. Yep. But it does take a vote from this board as well. Can I have a motion then?
So moved.
Moved by Francis, second?
Second?
Seconded by Leon. So we will hold our last day of school on Friday, June 10th at 2016. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. And that's unanimous.
I have a related item.
You have a related item,
To the start of school next year.
okay?
And the related item is that Mount Anthony is currently considering having the very first day of school with freshmen only and giving the sophomores, juniors, and seniors the day off. And my question is, will that affect the CDC in any way, since our kids are primarily juniors and seniors, and some of them are coming from Arlington and probably Manchester, and I need to know if that would have we need to know if that would have an effect and inform Mount Anthony of that before they make a final decision.
Well, we hold short block classes that also have 9th and 10th graders. So we would probably have the same schedule as they're going to have on their freshman day, so that if there's a 9th grader assigned to a short block over here, like a pre-tech course that we offer, then that they need to be, our faculty in our class would have to be available for that purpose. So that would be my interpretation, that
Yeah.
everyone here, it would be a regular open day, the day the freshmen are here as well.
I think we would just have to look at Arlington and BBA, their
Well, the intent
calendars.
was that the freshmen would come here and they would be coached as to what high school was all about. And they'd spend a whole day at it with the faculty and staff.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. But I'm sure they'll go through their schedules as well, and if we're part of that, we'd certainly want to be here to make sure that we're.
Sometimes it's a 15-minute schedule, you know, they
Yeah.
go to every class for 15 minutes.
Right. They'll probably have workshops for them throughout the day as well.
So they can kind of get used to switching classes.
So that's our intent anyways, is that we will be open on that day. If anything changes, then we'll let you know on that. The second item on the action item, there's two here that concern bids. And I want to make sure that we take action and we do this. It's a little confusing because of what's happened from the roof project. If you recall, this year was the year we're beginning the replacement of certain sections of the roof here in the building, and we budgeted for that. We anticipated it. And we've gone to bid on those as required by statute, by law. So we've had the bids returned. There were 4 bids that were returned from the RFP that was published. And I'll let Stephanie give you the details on that, and then I'm gonna look for a motion to accept one of those bids.
I couldn't find them when I looked for them, the roof project and the security project bid on site, on the bid,
Okay, what,
RGB.
were you looking for specifics, Leanne, as to
I'm
the
looking,
RFP, or were you looking for the actual?
well, on the, today's meeting, May 16th,
Mhm.
it had a category, action items.
It's, the security bid is out under, or the roof bid I was gonna read.
This security bid is the only one that's there.
Yeah, yeah, the roof one has some issues. So
Oh,
that's why
okay.
that's why we haven't
I can also
published
make
that, and that's
copies.
what I wanted her to speak
All
of.
right, I'm jumping the gun.
Okay,
So, this is for the roof project that is over, our forestry classroom. It's about 5,100 square feet. We, during the, budgeting process, the finance committee had planned that we were gonna spend approximately 86,000, in, out of our reserve fund. The bids came back and, they're considerably lower than the square footage than what we had planned. So we may have an opportunity, if the board wants to bid out another portion of the roof, to continue to take advantage of the low costs and to continue moving forward with it. But in terms of the bid that we did for the forestry project, there were 4 bids, and the lowest one that includes the alternate one, which was additional, I think, insulation. The lowest bid was Titan Roofing for $44,000.
For how much?
$44,000.
Where's
The
Titan
base
at?
bid was $37,500. The alternate was, the bid alt one, which was the insulation, was $6,500.
Where's Titan out of?
Titan is out of Springfield, Mass. The second lowest bidder was Doxy Roofing, which was, the base bid was $43,762, and the alternate was $4,542, having the total bid for what we intend on doing is $48,304.
there's approximately a 10% spread between those two bids. The third bid,
The third bid would be Monahan and Laughlin, which is $54,500 total, and then there was one, Vermont Roofing was the last.
How much did we budget for?
This is coming out, this isn't out of the local budget, this is
Right,
out of the
it's out
reserve
of-
fund. We anticipated it to be almost double what we're getting in terms of what the way the bid came back. I was speaking with Paul Dancero, who's the facilities manager here, and it seems like we may want to take advantage of the low roof prices and put another portion out to bid.
So I'm trying to make sure I understand that, and, you know, the difference that I'm seeing is not very much, I mean, in terms of put a whole nother roof out, is what you're saying. Another section of our roof.
Another section.
But-
We had been anticipated the sections, or the roof repairs to go, I think, over 5 years. And we did one at the beginning of this year. We're gonna do another one, hopefully this summer. And we were gonna go out another 2 or 3 more years beyond this. This might be an opportunity for us to do another one, to cut off one of the years in the future by doing another portion of the roof.
taking advantage of the lower costs, as obviously it's come in considerably lower than we anticipated.
So that's what I thought you were saying, but, we're trying to extend the current one, or are we gonna go for another bid?
No, what I'm proposing
Go
is
for
we did this, we awarded this bid to the lowest bidder, and we put out another RFP. There are different portions of the roof. I guess there's different flashing and things that, that you have to pay attention to when you're doing the roofing, so that the cost of that roof may be less than the cost of doing this roof because of the different details on it.
It would definitely be a new RFP. That would be our.
That's what I was wanting to make sure, it
Yes.
was clear to my
Yeah.
mind whether we was trying to just say we're gonna extend this one out there or something. Are we going for another bid, and it may not be what we think it may be. I
That's
don't know
right.
yet.
And
That's
if it's
right.
not, then we've already awarded this bid, and this is going to go on regardless, assuming the board votes.
We definitely need that section of the roof repaired this year. It's leaking really bad. And I'd like to move forward with the lowest bid that has been presented tonight, and then send out another RFP for another section of the roof. If we have funding available still from this year, then we can proceed and possibly get both sections done this year.
And this is not in conjunction with the bid from Paul's the person, but Mount Anthony is not bidding on other roof jobs at the same time now? in conjunction?
So your question is Mount Anthony bidding at the, we
Well,
put the
yes,
bids out
but-
initially at the same time. I'm not sure how they're gonna proceed with, their portion, with their bids. I think that it makes sense for us just to award this bid and move forward and do another RFP and see what the, additional costs of another section of the roof would be.
And the reason I'm asking the questions, I thought we were, bidding the total thing and paying a portion of it
No.
under that. And so now we having possibility of one or two contractors working here at the same time, depending on the two school districts, which is not what I had envisioned that we would be doing. I mean, in terms of Paul being the person that's managing the grounds along that area and going out for the quote, I mean, we're getting the quotes, but then actually managing that particular part of buildings and grounds, the roof, that it should be all under one.
Well, it'll still be under the, what's his name, Mount Anthony's,
That's Paul.
building, Paul. It'll
That's
still be
Paul, and
under
that's
his direction, and he'll still be the clerk of the works of the job. But the way that we structured our new contract with Mount Anthony, we pay him a flat fee now, but we're responsible as an independent school for anything in this building above and beyond that. So therefore, we fall under the same guidelines and have to issue an RFP for this district. And we have to award the bids independent of theirs.
This is similar to, and I don't want to speak for what their bids are, I don't have them, and I don't know off the top of my head, but this is similar to what we did this summer. And I believe this summer we ended with the same contractor received both bids. I don't know if that's the case for this.
Right, and that's what my question, I'm trying to figure out, are we gonna be getting ourselves into something along the line where right next door, I mean, the board will be deciding, wait a minute, the recommendation, this is what we wanna go with, and then right here we're deciding, and we got two individual roofers working on the building, even though we're going from separate people, but they got one person that's managing it through that way, and the bids should be competitive both ways. I mean, it should be, if it's not, I don't know what they are yet, but if they're the low here, they ought to be the low there too, is what I'm thinking, and that would make sense to say that, we had a bid, everybody bidded, and this is the lowest bid for the best package, and we're bringing somebody in here, and you're gonna pay this over here, that one, and you're gonna be paying this, but this is the best deal for the whole building.
That's not how the RFPs
Okay.
are written.
Okay.
So I'm not sure whether,
Yeah, they weren't, unfortunately, they weren't written that way, and they can't be because of the independent. If we're in a situation where, like you're saying, where we're caught with two different contractors on the job, how do you want to handle that? I can see your concern there, but what are our options?
Well, I wouldn't want to be agreeing to award this one without having some communication. Paul would have been recommending with you to say, this is the best one here, and this is the best one over there. He came in this way, or they came in the same. And it would be nice if your board recommended this one, because this is what I'm gonna ask them to recommend over here, because they're the ones that, I can see it the best outcome in terms of fee and performance.
Well, it's my understanding that they're both the same, you know, we're getting the same 25-year warranty on a specific type of roof. So because that's my understanding of.
That was my question. Who did the specs? Who put the specs together? Was it Paul?
MSK Engineering,
Okay, so they put the specs together.
yeah.
Have we ever
Or
used?
maybe with Paul.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Have we ever used Titan before? Have we got references where they worked
I don't.
locally that we could say they did real work? And I don't pretend to know them all. I mean, I'm in construction and I just have never heard of them, but I don't pretend to know
You're
all
out of
of them.
Springfield.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that.
I would like to have at least a reference of some place where they've done work.
I would assume that would be a requirement of the RFP.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I just hate to award it to somebody that, you know, we don't have anything to go on. Money isn't the bottom line here, always.
So I'll be asking I'll be asking the question, now that I
Come
know that,
Wednesday.
I will be
Yeah.
asking Paul.
You have to
That's
be
right.
a certified installer of the products with a minimum of 5 years experience and supply owner with a manufacturer 25-year warranty that meets or exceeds Firestone's 25-year Red Shield medallion program.
See, we can't speak to Mount Anthony because we don't know. They don't meet until Wednesday and
Right.
to discuss this, although it has to
Look
be
and see,
approved this month so that we can move forward with getting the contractor scheduled and the work done here, Francis.
Usually you got 7 days after the bid, so you can do whatever checking you need to do before you award it anyway. So, we've got the same thing coming up at Shasberry with a roof, and even though the opening is the 18th, then we have 7 days. If I have any questions, then, you know, we have 7 days before we award that. So, if that's any help, that's just,
Okay, so,
May I propose something? If you really want to talk, which I think is good, to talk to the high school about it too, and they're meeting on Wednesday, can't we make a motion to delay our response and give Jim the authority to sign off for it if he's in agreement, and I know Ed's on that board. Are you on that board?
exactly, yeah.
And so 3 of you are on the board anyway, so can't we delay it until that happens?
I'm trying to look
I
at
certainly
that.
would be happy. I'd like to hear more about what's going on with that. I mean, again, I've done enough work in Massachusetts to tell you the workman's comp's more expensive, their unemployment costs are more expensive, everything in Massachusetts is more expensive. So it bothers me when they come into Vermont and they're cheaper. You ask yourself, did they take a shortcut or did they just miss something? I just want to be sure we're getting what we're paying for.
Okay, I understand.
I
But I
have
like Jackie's suggestion.
I do too.
If you could give me the authority to go ahead and proceed
yeah.
after Mount Anthony has made their decision with,
Yep.
you know, accepting the bid that's congenial to all of us.
Yeah.
I think that's,
I'll make that motion.
Particularly since we're co-joined.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Paul-
concerned
Paul
about.
had stated, I mean, I think that that's a fine motion, but Paul has stated that having 2 different contractors would be fine, and
Yeah,
so.
I don't have that issue. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been on jobs where you got 2 different plumbers, you got 2
Yeah, I
different
mean, you have
Yeah.
different subs.
heating and
I mean,
ventilating
you have
people, it's not an issue.
Right,
Yeah, they're working on different sections
Right.
of the roof.
right, they're not working.
They're not going to be joined.
They're working for 2 different companies.
Okay, so we have a motion. Did we get a second on that?
I'll second it if you didn't.
Okay. Barb, do you have a clear understanding or definition of it? You think you're good? Okay.
Because I'm trying to find under
We're just
there. I
going to
have-
delay the approval until after the high school has their
Yeah.
meeting.
And then give the authority to Mr. Boutan, the chair, to sign off on it.
Okay.
Assuming that the MAU facilities manager says this is okay? Is that?
Oh, yeah, we'll definitely get
It needs to be a conversation with him. You know, if you're gonna go out, you're gonna be a facilities manager, and you're gonna go out for this building and that building over there. At the same time bidding on something, it should be more communication as to what needs to be happening out here in both places, so we won't be screwed up in having somebody working here and somebody working over there in terms of a recommendation coming from the person. And that's what I'm gonna say.
And that's what we'll do. Between Steffi and I, we'll meet with, or Mike, we'll meet with the facilities manager. Prior to Wednesday's meeting, we can probably do that prior to Wednesday's meeting with Mount Anthony so that he can read you into our decision as well.
Because they just met, I mean, I guess they had a finance committee, and I'm looking on the computer and it says non-budget projects. I can't pull them up because they didn't put them.
We just opened the bids on Thursday, so I don't think that.
I mean, Mount Anthony has one, went on at 6 o'clock
Tonight.
over there, tonight.
Yeah.
And I can't, oh no, 6 o'clock Wednesday, I'm sorry.
Wednesday, yeah.
It's 6
Further
o'clock
than
Wednesday, that's why I can't pull it. They ain't got it on, not posted, but they got it listed as non-project items, but I don't know what they are. And I would want to do that at the same time, is what I'm saying, under the same purpose.
Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? All those then in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by raising your hand. Okay, that's unanimous, Barb. Now, the second part of this, we need a motion to go to RFP
No,
for,
we have never, I don't know, have we ever had a motion?
no, we probably haven't.
Are you talking about doing that right away, or can I go into July 1st?
Well, we would like to get the RFP out and get the responses back before any work begins.
Understood.
Let's say the same company wins the second RFP.
Right.
It just means, it makes sense for them to continue and do all the work while they're here.
Understood. But is it critical that it's out by July 1st?
I would think so.
June 30th?
I think that the idea is to have the work done before school starts, so.
Understood. I'm talking about the awarding the contract. Are we on a deadline for the June 30th end of the year contract?
For which, this contract that we
No,
just
for the
had,
new-
the new one, no, I mean, we have a meeting next month.
Okay.
So I would think that we would have it all in line to be able to have it for you to be
Have
able
it,
to
yeah,
vote on in
presented
full
then.
session. For you.
So we don't need a motion just to go to RFP. I don't think so either.
I mean, you're gonna make the ultimate decision whether you award the contract.
Right.
And then we're gonna have some in the packet for that next, because see, like, we didn't have anything here.
Are you looking for the RFP, or are you?
Well, whatever, we normally have
Without
the
the-
recommendation there, which says, and compare, and with a statement there that this is what we're saying we want to do.
Here.
And that's what I was going to look for on Mount Anthony, was what the recommendation was from Paul to the board, because that's what we're looking for, is that person to
And-
make the recommendation.
And they don't have that posted?
I
either,
don't
are
see
they?
it,
It's
no,
not-
I don't
okay.
see it.
It's just
Okay.
a verbal conversation.
All right, then we'll have a conversation with him on this.
Yeah, we
And,
need to have that stuff documented.
That will happen. And you'll go ahead and prepare then the RFP with him on the second half. Okay. Now, similar with the next action item, and that's the security system, the upgrade of the security system here that went out to bid. Now, that involves the doors. They're going to put new types of locks on the doors, where similar to what's at Mount Anthony Middle School with the fabs, so that you need that fab to get through the door. And there's some work with closing in the entryway out here, so that, and that door, so that people just can't walk in off the street and access the main office right away. They're going to have to be buzzed in through the main office. So that went to bid, and we have results of that bid as well.
They're in the Dropbox.
They're in the Dropbox.
Which
Those
is-
are.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
We had two bidders. The lowest bid was Royal Group for $14,779.75. The second bidder was Alarm Suppression Inc., but $27,572.
pretty big gap.
Question?
I got the
Two
same
different-
questions, and the reason I have the same questions is because we're addressing the same security issues next door, and we're talking about addressing these issues coming with the overflow here. And we finna make a decision to talk about putting in some things security-wise, and I haven't a clue what we're finna do next door in terms of a joint effort. And I'm just not comfortable doing it right now until I hear the whole picture from both places as to what we're gonna do and how we're gonna control it. And who we're gonna go out to bid to make sure that the systems are compatible and that we know what's going on along that line. I just think we need to do a little bit more along this line with when the buildings are joined at the hip for knowing what's going on. It may not change anything, but we need to know here, I do, before I agree to it.
Yeah, I concur with Leon on this, and I read this proposal that they've submitted, and the one question I have that I don't see an answer to here is whether or not we've got electronic control over all the door locks, and I think that might be a wise thing to employ, so that if you had a lockdown situation, you don't have to go around and manually lock doors. You can from one central location on a computer terminal, you can lock all the doors in a facility. And I think Mount Anthony is looking at the same thing, because I think people over there want that same system installed. And I would like clarification on that capability before I would vote yes on this.
I mean, I think if it's a fob system, then the
That-
doors
Yeah.
are locked unless you're, unless you have that card.
I think so too, but that's not clear from the documentation
Okay.
that is presented.
So we're looking for some more information. Fran?
The only thing you gotta be careful of is they've already submitted these bids, and you don't wanna make it look like, well, we're gonna redo this now because we want the high school to get, whatever. It's you just gotta be real careful. I agree with everybody, but it's, just be very, very careful how we do it.
So it's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you've worked with the security team at Mount Anthony
Yep.
in order to come up with, to outline what it is that you feel you need on both sides. And Paul Dancero has put that into the RFP and made sure that even if the system, because the whole idea is that each school is going to have their own control, and that the various administrators would have access to both sides. So I think that there's been a lot of discussion about that. The one question that I have is that we don't know the answer is, will the CDC want to move forward with something if MAU in turns decides not to? So these bids are going to come to MAU on Wednesday. So I would think that it would be a different discussion from the board to decide whether you want to move forward with this side of what they've done together in the security bid, if MAU is in turn going to not do it. So I would worry that you're going to award a bid tonight, like right now, while not knowing what the other half is doing, but perhaps.
Right, and I'm just saying that Paul needs to stand up in these cases when you're the buildings and ground person, and over this building and that person in terms of the recommendation of doing things along that line. When I say stand up, I need to have some more strength coming from him and saying, look, we're doing security on this campus here, even though you're gonna be paying for it, they're gonna be paying for it, this is what we're doing. They went out to bid, you guys got this portion, somebody else got this portion to pay for, the systems are in there interlocked a certain way, you're gonna be able to do this, they're gonna be able to do. I don't hear that from a building, from the person, and that's my questions before I go out here and do something. And the same thing for the roof. I need to know that, because I'm not gonna get in a tit for tat thing out here.
So, I mean, we need more information. What I can say is that Paul has been part of the campus-wide safety team.
Right.
And, he has heard the needs on the MAU side as well as the CDC side.
Okay.
Our buildings are different, so we have different needs, but
So am I saying, I thought he still gets a sort of a stipend to help with these things, that's why he's involved, is that right? From, on this side for?
I don't know from a pay.
Whatever, I don't know, whatever it is, but-
We're paying, I mean, when we set up the allocation, when we moved away from the allocation agreement towards this rental, the payments that we were making towards some portion of his salary, is now probably, is embedded in it, which is why he's working with us in both of these events, and, we're not paying him directly.
That's right, I know we're not paying him directly, but.
For
That's
the
right.
I guess what
facilities next week, and invite Paul over to sit down with the 3 or 4 of us on the committee. I'd like to hear what his thoughts are
If you
and what his
want-
concerns would be.
If you want to do that, I would ask that the board give you give the facilities committee the authority to move forward on these projects.
That's exactly what I
Not
was
to
gonna
hold
say.
them up.
Yep.
Because we don't want, first of all, this is a safety issue,
Yep,
okay?
yep.
The last thing we want to do is drag it out so that we have to wait till next year to do it. And the safety of the students is now in jeopardy. Let's get this completed, that's my concern. This year, we have the funding, we have the budget. Let's move forward, but let's do it as Leon says, that we have full cooperation and understanding with the Buildings and Grounds chairman here. And, but give the executive committee the authority to move forward. That's all I'm asking.
I have one question. Why is there such a disparity between the two bids?
They were different systems, and I don't know. That was, he said both were fine, and our tech person looked at the lowest, looked at both bids and said that the lowest one was in fact what she would prefer we went with. So,
I just wonder, you don't want to go cheap on security.
And that's the, I think security has changed in schools nowadays, and, we've had our share of security and safety concerns this school year. So I would encourage you to, move forward.
Yeah, let's, I'm going to ask for a motion then that
So moved.
this be turned over to the executive committee who will meet next week with the Buildings and Grounds to assure that everything is proper and in order and in cooperation with whatever system the high school is going to install.
Yep.
We are talking both security and roof next
Yes.
week.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And all invited?
Pardon?
Just the executive.
The executive committee.
Okay.
do you have a time that you want to set on that now, or?
I'll second the motion.
We'll get together after to set the time
Yeah.
and date, okay? Any other discussion?
I don't really, there's at least 8 other schools that have used a system provided by this group, so I trust what they're providing. I just want to make sure it's compatible with whatever Mount Anthony is going to do in the end,
Okay, makes sense.
without having some kind of glitch that requires extra work at some point to make.
Scheduling with Paul's right over the critical part.
Yes. This all makes sense. This is good discussion. We're covering all the bases, but the best we can and making sure we have all our I's dotted, T's crossed, so I'm happy with it.
Fran moved it, I seconded it.
All those in favor then of this motion, please signify by raising your hand. Okay, that's unanimous. We'll move forward on that. Superintendent's report is the next item on the agenda.
Okay, so I have my directions from Mike. I'm going to pass out the Lake Parent House is inviting all of you to go there on Sunday from 3 to 5 so that you can see the progress on their, what they're calling now their lake house as opposed to pavilion. If you haven't been out there, it's worth going out and looking at what our building trades students have been working on this school year. It's a beautiful building. They're extremely happy. It's a great relationship that we've built with them. The other thing I'm going to pass out is Mike's been working hard on organizing some summer camps here this summer. And on the flyer, it identifies the sessions that we're going to have. They range from video productions to a form of building wild. And we're looking for about 15 students for each class. The video production week, that's actually going to have 2 sections, 2 different weeks, right, Jim?
Yes. Session 1 is June 27th through July 1st, and session 2 is July 11th through July 15th. They run from 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. to 1 or 8 a.m. to 4.
So we have teachers coming in for all of them, except the Young Hacks Academy. That's actually an organization coming in to teach that. And you can find more information out on their website by going to younghacks.com. Also for Arlington, they've asked that Bruce Lee Clark teach more courses up there this coming school year. So he's going to do both pre-law and forensic investigation. Again, that's a really good partnership that we've developed with them. And I know Bruce enjoys working with students in the Arlington area as well. We've also advertised, and we're going to continue to recruit for a second building trades instructor as well as a design and fab instructor. I assume that next week we'll start looking at resumes and start, putting some interviews together. We also have our awards banquet on May 31st, so you're definitely invited and welcome to come. If you would like to come, just let Sandy know by May 23rd so that we can, factor you into that. And that's it.
I have a question.
Yep.
Yes.
Is there a reason why 27th grade to 9th grade?
I think we're focusing on, the students before they get here so that when they get here, they can look at some of our intro classes.
So it's actually sixth graders who are going into 7th?
6 going into 7th, yep, yep. Having young students here in the building just exposes them to our facility and all the different equipment here. I mean, the camps are obviously focused on different topics, but I think it's good to have our building open and have younger students come in so that, we start marketing to them younger.
This should be sent to the banner.
We're taking care of that.
They had a post-let a few days
Yeah,
ago where they
yeah,
were
I saw
looking
that,
for
yeah.
summer activities that they can
Yep.
put into the calendar.
Yeah, we're taking care of that, and we have to get it uploaded onto the website. The information isn't quite there yet, but we wanted to get this all out in front of the board beforehand to make sure that your concerns are addressed as well. Yeah. The other thing is it's open to all of Bennington County, the whole region that we serve. It isn't just the Bennington region or the Mount Anthony district. Okay. Any other concerns on that? As far as my report, I'm just going to pick up on this in that we do, yes.
I had a couple of quick
I'm sorry.
updates for you.
Yep.
Yeah,
go
you
right
forgot
ahead.
me, I'm so hard. We're winding down. We still have one LNA class that is going to end towards the end of June. Very intense as usual. The CDC was part of the organizing committee for the job and career fair, and that went really well. It's a wonderful collaboration. We did not have quite as many participants, people looking for jobs going to the fair as we did last fall, but the quality was absolutely amazing. Altogether, there were about 158 jobs that were available, and the majority of the participants, the businesses that came to the fair, have been very happy with some of the interviews they were able to establish, so that was really good. And hopefully you got your invitation for the potluck dinner, which is open to all students and instructors, and we have guests from adult education. And this year, we're already up to close to 70 participants. A really good chunk of people come. And it's wonderful to be part of it. You actually get to meet the students that benefit from what we're doing in the evening. And it's a very dysfunctional family potluck, but it's a wonderful opportunity to talk to the students, talk to the instructors, and get a chance to meet a part of your school community that we don't see very often. So just let us know if you're coming, and if you are, we have some awesome raffle ticket items.
Thank you, Mary Peter. As far as my report, I want to again mention that we're forming the scholarship committee for these summer camps. We're going to have a small committee that will put together an application form for scholarships for students in need to cover the fees of these camps for families who cannot afford it. We'll have the scholarship application posted on our website here shortly as well. And we will we'll look at those applications and make awards based on needs using the federal guidelines of the free and reduced lunch program when we make those decisions. And we'll award those to help cover those costs. And I think that's all I have for my report, other than the executive committee did meet and spent quite a bit of time here last week, and I was happy about that. We covered the superintendent's evaluation, we covered some contract issues, and we covered the ESP contract issues, all of which we need to go to executive session to discuss. Okay? So if there is no other items before the board right now, we will be coming back out of the executive session to take action on those particular, on the evaluation as well as on the contract issues.
Motion to go in executive session.
Second.
Seconded by Ricky. All in favor, please signify by raising your hands. Okay.
Jim, put those warrants.
It is open, yep.
Okay. To return to open
So
session.
moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, where's Barb? We got to get her back. Yep, here she comes. Okay, we have discussed the administrative contract, and we have discussed the off-contract employees raises for next year. And at this point, I'm looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we give all personnel 2% increase across the board.
All personnel, that would be administrators and off-contract personnel, a 2% increase for next year.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of that motion, please signify by raising your hand. That's unanimous, Barb. Is there any other business this evening before the board?
Move we adjourn.
Second that.
Second by Leah. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand.
Hey, you better not nobody
Thank you,
keep that.
everybody.
We're going to send for takeout next time.
Ready to go, buddy.